so far I have discussed a lot of information about the basic features of different phylums, and we have done till phylum Hemichordata, and what we have to do in this video right now is phylum Chordata. So the basic features of any animal belonging to this phylum Chordata include the presence of a notochord, presence of a dorsal hollow nerve cord, and paired pharyngeal gill slits. So these three features are an important composition of this phylum Chordata. So I'll give you a little description of how the animal looks like. So this is a basically rough diagram of how the animal should look like. The gill slits are present here. So these are the gill slits. This part over here, that is the post-anal part. Now the notochord is present here, like this. It extends throughout the length. So this is the notochord, and then enclosed by a layer. This is known as the nerve cord. So these are the features: gill slits, nerve cord, notochord, and post-anal part. Now all of these organisms, they are having bilateral symmetry. They are triploblastic, and they are coelomates with a proper true body cavity. Additionally, they have an organ system level of organization. Additionally, they have a post-anal tail and a closed circulatory system. So these are the common features, and the next thing that we are about to do is a basic differentiation and comparison of chordates and non-chordates. So we are going to divide the screen into two: chordates on this side and non-chordates on this side. The first basic difference is that the notochord is present in chordates and the notochord is absent in them. Second is that the central nervous system, it is dorsal, it is hollow, and only one such system is there, so that means it is a single system. Central nervous system in non-chordates, that is ventral, it is double, and it is also solid, it's not hollow. Another difference: in chordates, the pharynx is perforated by gill slits, and in case of non-chordates, gill slits are completely absent. Another thing about the heart is ventral in case of chordates, and if present, heart is dorsal. And it's not present in all, only if present, then it's going to be dorsal. And one more thing, the post-anal part, which is usually a tail, is present, and the post-anal part or the tail is absent. So that is the comparison of chordates with non-chordates. So let's go ahead and find out how the phylum Chordata is further divided into subphyla. So phylum Chordata, on the basis of the features we've just done, is divided into three basic subphyla. First is Urochordata, or it is also known as tunicata. The second one is Cephalochordata. And the third one is vertebrata. Now subphyla Urochordata and Cephalochordata are commonly known as protochordates. And they're exclusively marine. In Urochordata, the notochord is only in the larval trail. So I'm going to refer to notochord as this. Only in the larval tail. In Cephalochordata, the notochord is from the head to the tail. And it is persistent throughout the life. It does not finish at any point of the life. So that is the basic difference between them. A few examples of Urochordata include Ascidia and Salpa. And examples of Cephalochordata include Branchiostoma. Coming to the third subphyla, which is Vertebrata, they have a notochord only during the embryonic period. So as you can see, the basic difference is presence and absence of the notochord only in the embryonic period. When the embryo stage is finished and the next stage comes, it is replaced by a cartilaginous, so filled with either cartilage or bone, that is called as a vertebral column in the adult stage. So the notochord gets replaced by this vertebral column in the adult stage. So that means all vertebrates are chordates, but all chordates are not vertebrates. Besides these basic structures, vertebrates have a few other features as well. For example, they have a ventral muscular heart with 2, 3, or 4 chambers. Extra additional feature is they have kidneys for excretion, and they have appendages also that can be in the form of fins or in the form of limbs. So let's quickly revise the difference between these three subphyla. Alright, so I'm going to do that with the help of this diagram that we've already made. So phylum Euchordata or Tunicata and Cephalochordata are commonly known as protochordates, and they are all marine. Under Urochordata, the feature is that the notochord is present only in the larval tail, not in all stages, and examples are Ascidia and Salpa. In Cephalochordata, the notochord is present from the head to the tail and it is there throughout the life. Example is Branchiostoma. And the third one is Vertebrata, which is having notochord only in the embryonic period. In the adult, it is replaced by a cartilaginous or a bony structure called the vertebral column. And a few extra features are that they also have a ventral muscular heart with 2 or 3 or 4 chambers. Kidneys are present for osmoregulation and excretion, and fins or limbs are present as extra appendages. So the next division that we have to know about is about the subphylum Vertebrata. So subphylum Vertebrata, it is composed of a division into 2 basic parts. The first one is agnatha, which do not have the jaws, and the second one is gnathostomata, that have the jaws. So we can say bears a jaw. Now further they are divided into different classes. So agnatha is further divided into only one class, which is class Cyclostomata. This gnathostomata is further divided into 2 superclasses. So we will write here superclass. One of them is Pisces, which contains fins. The other one is tetrapoda, that bear limbs. So coming to Pisces, they further have two classes. One is class chordates, and the other one is class ostriches. And coming to the superclass tetrapoda that have limbs, there are four classes. One is class amphibia, class reptilia, class aves, and class mammalia. So let's go through this division once again. So you have the subphylum Vertebrata that is converted into two divisions. Agnatha without the jaw, so that is class Cyclostomata. Then you have the division Gnathostomata, which bears a jaw, that is divided into two superclasses. One is Pisces, the ones that have fins, so that is class chordates and class ostriches. And coming to tetrapoda, the ones that bear limbs, you have class amphibia, class reptilia, class aves, and class mammalia. So going forward, we are going to discuss each of these classes one by one, each of these 7 classes that we have one by one. So we begin with class Cyclostomata. An example of this is the common lamprey, which is also known as Petromyzon. So let's look at the features that are there in this class. First of all of them are ectoparasites on some fishes. That means they live like a parasite but on the outer surface. The second feature is they have an elongated body that bears 6 to 15 pairs of gill slits. Additionally, they have cyclostomes that have a sucking and a circular mouth without jaws. Sucking and a circular mouth. So we've already done that jaws are not present. The other feature is that they don't have scales or paired fins. They don't have jaws, they don't have scales, they also don't have any paired fins. In addition to this, they have cranium and the vertebral column that are cartilaginous, that is made up of cartilage. The cranium and the vertebral column. Circulation is closed. Closed circulatory system. They are marine, but for spawning they can go to the fresh water as well. So fresh water is usually for spawning and breeding purposes. After spawning, within a few days they die, so a short lifespan of a few days only. Their larvae, after metamorphosis, they return to the ocean back again. So the larval stage is present. So let's just revise these features. The example is Petromyzon, which is the lamprey. They're ectoparasites, a long body with 6 to 15 pairs of gill slits. Additionally, they have a sucking and a circular mouth. Jaws, scales, and paired fins are absent. The cartilage is there in the cranium and the vertebral column. Closed circulatory system. They usually live in marine water but come to the fresh water for spawning. And after spawning, after a few days, they die. But the larvae, they are able to escape back to the ocean through the help of metamorphosis, and they develop there. The next class that we have to do is class chordates. So class corn-rich thighs. These are all marine animals with a properly streamlined body, well equipped for swimming. They have a cartilaginous endoskeleton. Additionally, the mouth is located ventral, a ventral mouth. The notochord is present throughout life. Gill slits are separate without the gill cover. And there is no gill cover. Gill cover is also known as operculum. Additionally, their skin is tough, contains minute placoid scales. Teeth are modified scales that are backwardly directed. Teeth are backwardly directed. Okay, and their jaws are really powerful. They don't have an air bladder. The air bladder is completely absent in them, and that is why they have to constantly swim so that they do not sink. And about the heart for them is two-chambered. That means one auricle and one ventricle. Some of them have electric organs also, like in the electric eel. Some have the poison stings, for example in trigon, electric organ and poison steel. So these are means of defense. Poison sting. They are cold-blooded. That means they are poikilothermous. They are cold-blooded organisms. That means they cannot thermoregulate their own body. The sexes are separate, and in the males, the pelvic fins, they have claspers. The fertilization is internal. Additionally, many of them are viviparous. That means they give birth to live offspring. They don't lay eggs. Examples are dogfish. Another example is sawfish, the stingray, and the great white shark. So let's revise this class of corn-rich thighs. They are marine, streamlined. Cartilage is there in the endoskeleton. They have a ventral mouth, and the notochord is there throughout the life. The gill slits are separate. There is no operculum or the gill cover. The skin is tough, and they have placoid scales that are modified into teeth that are backwardly directed. The jaws are really powerful. Air bladder is not there. Their heart has two chambers, the auricle and the ventricle. Either they can have an electric organ, or sometimes they have a poison sting. They are cold-blooded or poikilothermous and cannot thermoregulate their body temperatures. The males usually have a pelvic fin with claspers. Fertilization is internal. They are viviparous, and examples are the great white shark, the dogfish, the sawfish, and the stingray. Let's just summarize what we have done so far. So we did that phylum Vertebrata is divided into two on the basis of presence or absence of jaws. So the organisms that do not have a jaws are under this division of agnatha. That means the jaw is not present. And the other ones in which the jaw is there, those are grouped under gnathostomata. So those are the animals that have a jaw with them. Now this is further divided into two superclasses. One is Pisces. That means those organisms that have fins. And the other one is Tetrapoda. They don't have fins, but they have limbs. And as the name suggests, tetra means 4, so usually they have 4 limbs or 2 pairs of limbs. Now each one of these 3 components, they have certain classes under them. For instance, Agnatha has the class Cyclostomata, and this is what we've already covered in the previous video. And under this we have 2 classes, which is chondrichthyes. This has also been covered in the previous video, and ostrichthyes. And under tetrapoda we have 4 classes. We have amphibia, reptilia, aves, and class Mammalia. So in the previous videos we've covered till here, and in this video we're going to start from the class ostrichthyes. But before we get ahead and get started with it, don't forget to visit us at perfect-scores.com and share and like us at Facebook. If you have any suggestions or feedback, you can give it at perfectscores89@gmail.com. And this video is made by me, Preetinder Kaur, and we are going to get started with the class ostrichthyes now. Okay, coming to the main features of this class ostrichthyes, you need to remember that this class includes both marine as well as freshwater fishes. The extra feature in these organisms is they have a bony endoskeleton, not made of cartilage like the previous class that we did, but made of bones. And it's an endoskeleton, that means inside the body. Additionally, their body is streamlined, that means well adapted for swimming in the water. They have 4 pairs of gills. 4 pairs of gills covered by an operculum. On each side. The skin is covered by scales, and the scales are of 2 types. One is cycloid and the other one is ctenoid. The air bladder is present that helps in maintaining their balance and buoyancy. So air bladder is also present in them. The heart is 2-chambered with 1 auricle and 1 ventricle. They are cold-blooded animals. That means thermoregulation is not possible in them. Additionally, the sexes are separate. That means they are not hermaphroditic. And obviously the fertilization will be external. Mostly they are oviparous, that means they give eggs instead of giving birth to live offspring, and the development is direct. That means the offspring resembles the adult. It just has to grow in size, that's all. The features are exactly the same. So a lot of examples are there. I'll give you a few examples that belong to the marine ecosystem. You have the flying fish, which is Exochetus. Then you have the seahorse, Hippocampus. Another example in the freshwater is the fish Rohu, which is Labio. Then Magur, which is Clarias. Then you have the fighting fish, which is there in aquariums. Remember, aquariums are artificially controlled environments. So in the aquariums, you have the fighting fish, which is Betta. And you have the angelfish, which is also known as Pterophylum. So let's summarize what all is there in this class of ostrichthyes. They are marine and freshwater both, and here are the examples for that. The body has a bony endoskeleton and it's streamlined with 4 pairs of gills covered by an operculum on each pair. Scales can be cycloid or ctenoid. The air bladder is present for buoyancy. The heart is 2-chambered with 1 auricle and 1 ventricle. They're cold-blooded with separate sexes, and fertilization is external with direct development, and they are oviparous. So time to go to the next class, which is going to be class Amphibia. So the most common animal that we know from this class is the common frog. So as the name indicates, that means dual life. Amphibians can live in aquatic as well as terrestrial environments. The preferences might vary from organism to organism, but they have the ability to live in both habitats. Now most of them have two pairs of limbs. The body is divided into a visible head and a trunk. The tail may be present in some, not in all, but only in some it may be present. An important part of their features is that their skin is moist and does not have any kind of scales like in the class Pisces. So scales are totally absent. The eyes, they have got eyelids, and there is a tympanum which represents the ear. That is the ear for amphibians. Additionally, they have an alimentary canal, a urinary canal, and a reproductive tract, and the common chamber for all of them is known as a cloaca that opens up into the exterior of the body. Respiration is from gills, lungs, and skin. So gills, plus they have lungs, and they can also respire through their skin. The heart is three-chambered. They have two auricles and one ventricle. They are cold-blooded animals. And the sexes are separate. The fertilization is external. They are oviparous, that means they give eggs instead of giving birth to live organisms, and the development is indirect. Usually there is a tadpole stage that is involved from an egg to a fully developed mature adult. Some common examples are bufo, which is the toad. So that is the scientific name of the toad. Then you have hyla, which is a tree frog. Then the common frog, which is known as rana. Salamandra, which is the name of the salamander. Next is, there is a limbless amphibian also that is known as Ichthyophis. Alright, so let's just summarize what we've done in class Amphibia so far. They have two pairs of limbs. The body is divided into a head and a trunk. Tail is there in some, skin is moist without scales, tympanum exists for the ear, and the reproductive, the alimentary, and the urinary tracts, they open up into a common chamber called the cloaca. They can be both aquatic and terrestrial. Respiration is to gills, lungs, and skin. They have a three-chambered heart with two auricles and one ventricle. They are cold-blooded. The sexes are separate. Fertilization is external and development is indirect, with them being oviparous. And here are some examples. So that nicely summarizes class Amphibia for you. And the next class that we are about to study is going to be the class Reptilia. So let me write it down over here, class Reptilia. So the main feature of this class means that they are creeping or crawling animals. That is what the name Reptilia suggests about them. They're mostly terrestrial. Some of them can be aquatic as well. So mostly they live on land. Their body is covered by a dry and cornified skin. That means really hard and a little bit horny as well. They have cornified skin, and they also have epidermal scales that can also be known as scutes. They don't have external ear openings, so that is absent in them. Tympanum is there, that represents the ear, just like in amphibians. And apart from that, limbs are usually in two pairs if they are present. Otherwise, there are some limbless reptiles like the snake as well. The heart is three-chambered, but sometimes it is four-chambered also. That is in a special case of crocodiles. Additionally, reptiles are poikilothermous. And snakes and lizards, they even shed their scales. Skins are shed, or the scales are shed. That should be the way I should write. The skins and the scales are shed in case of snakes and in case of lizards as well. Now, sexes are separate. Fertilization is internal. And again, they are oviparous. That means they give eggs instead of giving birth to live offspring. Development is direct. That means the offspring is going to look exactly the same as an adult. Some of the examples are chelone, which is the turtle, then testudo, which is the tortoise, chameleon, which is the tree lizard, calotes, which is the garden lizard, then crocodilus, which is the common crocodile, alligator, then naja, which is a snake, that's a poisonous snake that refers to the king cobra, then vipera, that refers to the poisonous viper snake, and then you even have the normal wall lizard, which is known as hemidactylus. So let's just summarize what we've done under class Reptilia. They are creeping and crawling animals, with most of them being terrestrial, and they have dry cornified skin with epidermal scales or scutes, no external ear, but tympanum is there. If limbs are present, they are present in two pairs. The heart is usually three-chambered, but it is four-chambered in case of crocodiles. They are poikilothermous animals, and the skins are shed, even the scales are shed for snakes and lizards. The sexes are separate with internal fertilization and direct development, and they are oviparous. So that summarizes class Reptilia for you. And the next class that we have to do is that of birds. So that is going to be class Aves. So let's see what is there in this class. So the special feature of the animals in this particular class is the presence of feathers, and most of them can fly because of these feathers, but some are flightless birds. For example, the emu and the ostrich. Now they also have a beak. The forelimbs are basically modified into the feathers. So the hind limbs are intact, but the forelimbs have been modified into feathers. The hind limbs have generally scales. So the hind limbs, they have got scales, and they're modified for walking, swimming, even for clasping. So lots of evolutionary developments have taken place. The skin is dry, and there are no glands except the oil glands at the base of the tail. At the base of the tail. Additionally, they have an endoskeleton which is bony. So we can say an ossified endoskeleton is present. And the long bones are there that are hollow, that help them to fly better, and their weight is less. So hollow, long bones are there. with cavities, so we call them pneumatic. Additionally, the digestive tract of birds has additional chambers. So the digestive tract has the two extra chambers, that is the crop and the gizzard. The heart is four-chambered. They are warm-blooded, that means homoiothermous animals. So they are warm-blooded. For respiration, they have lungs, and air sacs are connected to the lungs to help in that. So air sacs and lungs both help in respiration. The sexes are separate. The fertilization is internal. And they are oviparous, that means they lay eggs, and development is direct. So let's just go through these features once again to revise them. So under class A's, you have feathers, which are basically modified forelimbs, and they have a beak. The hind limbs have scales. The entire skin is dry and without any glands except for oil glands at the base of the tail. They have an ossified endoskeleton with long hollow bones that are filled with air cavities, so we call them pneumatic. The digestive tract has two extra chambers, that is the crop and the gizzard. The heart is four-chambered. They're warm-blooded animals. For respiration, they have air sacs and lungs. The sexes are separate. Fertilization is internal. And they're oviparous. They lay eggs and the development is direct. The next group or the next class that we have to do is that to which human beings belong. That is going to be class Mammalia, or that of mammals. So let's see what are the main features in class Mammalia. So the special thing about these animals is that they are found in a variety of habitats. Terrestrial, some of them can even fly, for example bats, and they can even live in water. But the most unique characteristic of this particular class is the presence of milk-producing glands that are known as mammary glands that give milk to nourish the young ones. And they have two pairs of limbs that have been adapted for different purposes like walking, running, climbing, burrowing, swimming, or even flying. The skin is unique because it possesses hair. There is hair on the skin. External ears are present as well. And they're also known as pinna or pinnae. Different types of teeth are there, not just one type. Like incisors, canines, these are the different types of teeth. Heart is four-chambered. They are homoiothermous, that means they are warm-blooded animals. Respiration is by the lungs, sexes are separate, and fertilization is internal. And they are viviparous with a few exceptions, and so we can say that they are mostly viviparous. And development is direct. The common examples for oviparous include the platypus, but for the viviparous you have so many other animals. Kangaroo, rat, dog, cat, elephant, horse, tiger, lion, all these. These are viviparous and they give birth to live offspring. So that is a basic summary of the class Mammalia, that they have mammary glands, that they have got two pairs of limbs, there is hair on their skin, external ears are present, and different types of teeth are also there. The heart is four-chambered with warm blood, fertilization is internal, and they are mostly viviparous. So that summarizes the classification of the entire animal kingdom. So what we'll go ahead is we are going to do and summarize this entire classification that we've just covered in the previous few videos. So we're going to classify the different phyla that we have done according to different characteristics once again. So on the top you are able to see the different ways in which we'll be summarizing them. What is the phylum, the level of organization, the symmetry, absence or presence of a coelom, the segmentation, the digestive system, the circulatory system, respiratory system, and special features. And on this side, we have the different phylums from Porifera till Hemichordata. So we've just done Chordata, so I'm not including that. So let's study what is there in Porifera. Now, you know that their level of organization is cellular. Symmetry is there, but there is a diversity in the kind of symmetry that is present. The coelom is absent in them, segmentation is absent in them, digestive system is absent in them, circulatory system is absent, respiratory system is absent. The distinctive feature is that they have got pores. So those are the features of Porifera. Coming to Coelenterata, they have a tissue level of organization. The symmetry is radial. And the coelom and segmentation is absent in them as well. Digestive system is present, but it is still incomplete. The circulatory system is absent. Respiratory system is also absent. And the special feature is the presence of the stinging cells called cnidoblasts. Coming to Ctenophora, their level of organization is at a tissue level. They have radial symmetry, and the coelom is absent in them as well. The segmentation is also absent. The digestive system is present, but it's very basic, so we can say it's incomplete. No circulatory system or respiratory system is there. The special feature is they have got comb plates, like in jellyfishes, for many different functions, especially locomotion. Here are the features of Platyhelminthes. They have got both organ and organ system level of classification and organization. The symmetry in this case is bilateral. The coelom is absent in them. Coming to the segmentation, that is also absent. Digestive system is also incomplete. There is no circulatory system, no respiratory system, and the special feature is they have got a flat body and they have got a hook and a sucker. The feature of Astralminthes is that they have got organ system of classification and organization. The symmetry is bilateral. They have a false coelom, so we can call it a pseudocoelom, but they do not have a segmentation. The digestive system is present and it is complete. However, circulatory system and respiratory system are still not present, and the special feature is that they are often worm-shaped or elongated. About annelids, the special feature is that they have an organ system level of classification and organization. Even in this case, it was organ system. The symmetry is bilateral. They do have a coelom, so we call them coelomates. Segmentation is present. Digestive system is complete. Circulatory system is present, but the respiratory system is absent. The special feature is segmentation, which is also known as metamerism. The special features of Arthropoda are that they have an organ system level of organization with bilateral symmetry. The coelom is present in them, and they also have segmentation in them. And digestive system is complete, circulatory system is there, and a respiratory system is also there. The special features are they have an exoskeleton made up of chitin, and they have jointed appendages as well. The special features of mollusca are that they also have an organ system level of organization. They have bilateral symmetry, and they have a true coelom. However, the segmentation is absent in them, but the digestive system is complete, the circulatory system and respiratory system are there. And the special feature is that they have an external skeleton that is usually made of shell. So that is their shell. The special features of Echinodermata is that they have an organ system level with radial symmetry, and they are coelomate. There is no segmentation in them, and everything is present in them. And the special features are that they've got radial symmetry and they have a water vascular system in them. And the features of Hemichordata are that they have an organ system level of organization. They have bilateral symmetry. They are coelomates. There is no segmentation in them, and all the other features are there. And the special feature is that they have got a worm-like proboscis. They have a collar, and they also have a trunk. So that summarizes the entire animal kingdom with the exception of phylum Chordata that we've just discussed in detail in the previous few videos. So I hope all of this was helpful, and don't forget to send us your valuable feedback so that we can help you and develop more information and help in education. Thank you so much for watching this video.